people can't understand or even wrap their mind around 30 years incarcerated. I was tried for Article 118, which is murder, and it carries only 2 sentences, either acquittal or life. And then underneath the life, if you're found guilty, then they have a 12 panel members that do either life or death.
I'm trying to be sensitive with this subject too now, because so I've got now a newfound awareness of how my narrative and the way that I tell this story is connected to the story of the man that's not here to tell his own. So I want to take control of my narrative and be in control of how people understand my life experience, but sometimes it's difficult to answer that question. I was in prison for killing someone. I was 19 years old. I was selling drugs out of a trailer in Poughkeepsie with the person that I considered to be my best friend at the time. And an issue arose between us.
The way that the justice system is currently set up, in my opinion, definitely has a lot of work that can be put into it.
I think it's kind of treated unfairly.
I did everything that I could. I fucked up. That I did something, but I had genuinely accepted my punishment, right? Accepted these constraints on my freedom, and then have decided to voluntarily live a life that gives back, because I recognize the harm that I've caused. And then you just go to the parole board and they're like, well, you killed somebody. Denied. You take that one, right? You say, you know what, it's real. These people didn't get a second chance, right? I wear that, still do the work. Go back to the parole board. Bang, 2 years. Nature of the crime.
The 3-panel board asked me questions, all the standard questions. And they come down to the end and they said, inmate night, there are questions that I and my fellow members here are pondering. And the one question is, would we want you as a neighbor? And right then, literally, my heart dropped out of my chest, everything. I knew they were going to say no. And he goes, we would be glad to have you as a neighbor. He said, so at this time, we grant you release.
I got out April 30th, 2020. And it was a rainy day. It was really gloomy. This moment is a significant part of why I eventually sought out a restorative justice journey for myself, right? Because I felt a sense of dread coming home. And it was because of the uncertainty of how the community was gonna receive me.
I really believe in second chances. I'm a very forgiving person. It really depends on what they did and their mental state.
Not necessarily feel comfortable. I would feel that they should be monitored by the government. They should be closely watched. They should also be closely studied.
I would say jump right back into normal living. So getting a job.
I got a job a week later, or 10 days later, something like that, working at Home Depot.
And he literally gets out of his chair and puts his hands right on the desk and he leans over and he's got this most venomous, evil look on his face when he says, inmate night, I don't know who you think you are, but you get your ass out of this prison right now. And I'm thinking, what? Holy shit, what? What? They give me $54.12. That's what they calculated that they owed me, $54.12. So now I don't have enough money for a bus ticket, and they literally walk me out of the gates, take me down the driveway that's the prison property, and at the end of the prison property, they drop me in they had a Ford Explorer car. I'm not prepared for the monumental change that's happened to America.
Guilty pleas are not just taken as a way to avoid punishment, but as a way to accept accountability, even in a form where it's sold as a way to like protect yourself, but really it's also acknowledge there is that underlying sense, right? And our prison systems could take that, nurture it, and then harness the power that comes out of that type of compassion and contribute that back to the communities, or they couldn't because they don't.
While that 40 months that I was in that shoe, I had a, what would you call it, a epiphany, revelation, an aha moment, a spiritual awakening, whatever. I want to say someone because even though it wasn't physically seeing someone, I heard it like I'm having a conversation with you. And this thing I want to call Wagamuha, because in my language of Lakota, said to me, are you going to die in prison, or are you going to be the true human being that you were sent here to be? And just like a flash over me, I had an enlightenment of, holy mackerel, I can die in prison. Every person has something to share. And if you let them talk, they speak it with passion, and you can walk away with that knowledge. Because wisdom comes from knowledge and experience.
2 years, they had like a whole level of the facility dedicated to bar prison initiative, right? So here it is that the administration of these prisons are saying, all right, we're gonna let you bring this in. Oh, you know what, this has value. We're gonna recognize the value of it by using some of this space we have in the prison for you to provide access to education. And we wind up having a computer lab, a college library, you know, and build a community of critical thinkers on a real level. It was a really good experience. I live with a woman right now that I love with all of my heart. So the game plan for me is to get to a place where I'm worth, you know, unifying with officially.
I do feel that the world needs to come together and we need to unite. We need to respect Mother Earth, and we need to understand humanity for us to live together in peace and harmony.